18 days to resume officially the plenary, because we're resuming on the 28th. But it's noticed that all the members, they are here on this issue. Because of how important this meeting is, they all decided to leave their different locations to come here so that they can interface with the industry and see what's going on. Well, we've had a lot of sad news over the flight cancellations and the flight diversions to other countries, and they will believe that as a nation and as a great nation like Nigeria, that we're supposed to have passed that stage.
With due respect, did not divert to Accra. The issue of diversion to Accra has been really just for one airline based on corporate policies and standards. In the aviation industry, there is what I would consider a mean standard. The country publishes standards on minimal visibilities for approaches and landings. These same figures are adopted and used by an international company called Jeppesen, which most airlines use. However, individual airlines can and are allowed to have standards of their own to which they operate. British Airways has advised us, well, I spoke with them and they said there are minima for RNAV, which was in place at that time, precision-based approach and RNAV approaches. Their minima was higher than the national minima and the Jeppesen minima. So they diverted to Accra. However, what is instructive about the situation is that British Airways comes back the next morning to operate into Lagos with the same weather conditions. And so the question I asked them is, we have two parallel runways in Lagos. There's a full ILS on the left, which we do not use at night, but is fully available during the day. It's long enough for any airplane. And I asked them why they didn't use it. And they were asked to use it. It was available to be used, but they opted not to use it. And the minima at that time, the visibility at that time, would have accommodated them easily. And it was daytime. I think they arrived overhead Lagos at about 5:30. Sunset is not until about 6:37, which gives a buffer of another 37 minutes. They could have landed. I understand they were a bit worried about the fact that they normally do not use that runway, which is a domestic runway. It's not really domestic, it's just one of the parallel runways available in Lagos. So I advised them that, professionally, there's no difference. You land there, you go to the end. If you want to turn, you turn at the end of the runway. You exit at link 4 and proceed to international, which is what they did yesterday. Like I said, why British Airways elected to go to Accra in the evening and come back during the day with the same weather conditions, that would have been a corporate decision. So that would be my comment, sir, on their diversion. However, on the issue of how we address operations, each time we change equipment, there is a need for us to assess, calibrate. We do all sorts of calibrations such that we can put a suite of alternatives to anybody that wants to operate. Like I said, in Lagos, we have the ILS approach, we have the RNF approach and we have PBN approach. Depending on which one is available and the weather conditions permitting, the airlines are free to utilize this. However, from time to time, we have to continuously ensure that these equipments are calibrated and are up to the standards for which we have presented them. That, I think, we are doing. It's a continuous process, and we'll continue to do that such that, like I said, we'll be able to offer alternatives in terms of approach facilities to all airlines and to all our customers.
So if that news will be Europe, so any foreigner who wants to come and invest here is going to be worried that they are living here together. So I want to ask, is there any penalty? Or is there any query that will be given to British Airways? Let it be publicly known that what they did was unprofessional. And it's not because Nigeria Airways, well, can you listen please? Is there any query or any major action that can be taken against British Airways? Let the public know, let the international community know that Nigeria airspace is not unsafe, that we have enough keep enough standard for them to land, and in fact, when they came back from Ghana to Nigeria, the weather condition was the same thing, and they landed. And this is just to restore reputation. So is there any way that this can be escalated so that the whole world will know? And then also to one other airline, because we allow British Airways to land here. We can say, look, we're not granting you land right again. If you prefer to land in Ghana, go and land in Ghana. And let other people land here and take all the passengers. So is there any way this warning can be sent around other airlines so that nobody repeats it? Thank you.
Technically, there is no violation. It was more like a personal decision on the pilot, maybe based on the company's standard operating procedures. And there is no claim in what he did. The onus is on us now to make a statement or an announcement to clear the air, just like we already agreed with him. We were discussing before this meeting that he said maybe the best way is let's clear the air, that it's a personal decision based on their own company SOPs that has nothing to do with any shortcoming or deficiency on our facility or infrastructure. And going to Accra or Ghana is not about the Accra or Ghana being much better. It's about when you divert an aircraft, you are looking for the nearest suitable airport. And maybe the nearest to Lagos is Accra. If Abuja was closer, you would have gone to Abuja. It just happened to be that Accra was the closest airport, that is an international airport, closer than Abuja. So it's an incidental event that he went to Accra. If Ibadan was well equipped, he would have gone to Ibadan. But for pilots, you go to the nearest suitable airport. And Accra, that's the one. Suitable in terms of the runway length, the size, the category, availability of handling, fuel, all other things that you might need on ground. So these are the determinants. So he went to Accra because it's the closest, not because there's no other airport in Nigeria. So we are working on maybe making an announcement, a public announcement that will take care, clarify the air. They have the right to do what they want, but we can clarify that this is what happened.
So what happened to our passengers? Did they have to carry them off on the children here?
No charge.
No, they had to. I mean, economically, like my colleague said, it might be the pilot, the captain has the last word on how he operates his flight, based on company policies, and by law, he can exercise the right at any particular time. But from the economic point of view, they have to house the passengers, which they did, and they had to operate here the next day, which they did. At cost to them, I would believe.
One for the other one of cancellation of flight within the country, because most of the passengers, because I fall a victim. I'm in the airport, those cancellation of airline, we know that there is still weather issues that during Hamatan we are having this problem. But I'm in the airport, no apology, nothing. Because if your flight is moving 4 o'clock, you can stay for airport for almost an additional 4 hours. No apology. Because you don't know even your fate, you don't know the time that you are leaving. So I want you people to respond on that, at least Nigerians to know.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, before, so you can add, I think, thank you, Chairman.
And even NAMA, they only control the airlines. When there are issues like this, we coordinate our own concern to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. They are the primary organization responsible to address such issues. Fun, even myself, recently I had a flight to depart 8 p.m. in Lagos. I departed 3 a.m. And the passengers were even talking to me that, what did I do? I said, even me, I'm a victim. And the more they do this, the more it's also stressing our facilities as fun, and maybe most other agencies, because our facilities are not meant for different categories of passengers to meet at the same time in the same departure or arrival facility. So stretching our facilities is increasing the tendency for mob action. And we are very much against this. In fact, we wrote a letter, I think, to the DG NCA to complain that let the NCA take charge and do the right thing by putting a stop to this. So we are not the ones primary, but we can contribute, and we're contributing towards resolving this extreme delay.
Chairman, in the case of Lagos.
Yes. No, I'm talking about unless you have Cat 3C, weather can get so bad anywhere in the world, any country that you cannot fly, unless you have Cat 3C. That is the one that you can get guidance down to maybe to touchdown if you have autopilot. What we have is mostly Cat 2 in Nigeria. Lagos we have Cat 3, and the Cat 2 will bring you down to 200 feet, I think with a visibility of 800 meters. So that is what is there. There is no arbitrary decision on what you want to do. If we have a facilities, people are expected, professionals, to obey and fly in accordance with those the capability of our instruments. So if the weather falls below what is allowed for our category of equipment, naturally there will be cancellation. And it is normal in the interest of safety and security. We are not obliged to undertake flight operations at all costs. No.
Wait, somebody trying to help you. So this airline is also trying to help evacuate people, carry some people.
No, we are paying.
You know, British Airways. I strongly believe that whatever we need to do to try to protect our image is very, very important, because you know the media, the social media and all this. That thing that happened, they've already escalated it. They escalated it in such a way that these things we are just discussing now, when you read the news, the media, they're not saying the same thing. They're saying totally different things. That NAMA installed, we have Cat 3 and everything, but that the problem is lack of calibration. They said that the people have not done any calibration. That people have that even they invested so much money in to acquire Cat 3, and what it means is that British Airways does not recognize or trust whatever equipment we have on ground. Okay, so these are the things I believe we need to, like you said, we need to make a statement. It's very, very important to take a proactive measure, so that we can calm the situation and also reassure Nigerians that the situation is okay. So I think we have discussed this issue. We have discussed this issue enough. We can. The only thing we'll say is that the MD, it's important that you just issue a statement on this issue, so that the entire Nigerians, and also the issue of weather. These things occur towards this time every year, you know. But it's also important to reassure Nigerians of this situation, so that people will be on the same page with the industry. It's very, very important, please. So definitely we will also need to have some of our members, because we need to follow up these things. between this period of weather situation, we also need to be at the same page with you people so that we know what is going on, how you are doing, how you are moving on this aspect. It's very, very important to us. You know, it's a very aviation is very sensitive. Like I said, it's very sensitive. Whatever happens, the roads are no more secured. So everybody is traveling by air. So people want to know what is happening. Just don't think that the way it used to be. It's no more like that. People want to travel from one point to another and transact whatever their business they are transacting and fly out again. So it's very important, very sensitive. So we need your cooperation, and because we represent the masses, they always ask us questions, and we also need to know what to tell them. That's the importance of discussing with you all the time. Then I think we have we are exhausted on this issue. Then secondly, we are, as a committee, personally, I have visited. I want to talk about the Enugu Airport now. Personally, I have been to Enugu Airport, and I was there on late December. I was there early January. But the committee also need to know maybe what I know and what I don't know. Okay? As a committee now, we want to find out what is happening regarding the airport, the runway reconstruction, and the other ancillary equipment that you're supposed to have on the runway. It boils down to two major issues, FAN and NAMA. Okay, so we really want to know. I'm happy that you have the PW here. We also have the consultants, and I can also see the representative of the Southeast Governors Forum appointed a consultant to interface on their behalf with FAN and with Aviation, and they all agreed. So I think it's important that you come and take a seat here so that, please, this Engineer Chris Okoye is the consultant for the Southeast Governors Forum. So please introduce yourself, because other people have introduced them. So introduce yourself.
In the afternoon, and we went to the bench to get our luggage. It took us 1 hour 30 minutes. It was so frustrating. We were tired. We were trying to leave the airport. And the luggage were not so. 30 minutes you see one, 15 minutes you see two one. What's happening? And when I landed there, before I reached the bench, my bag was there. So it was a little bit.
That's international.
Yeah, international.
Abuja here.
Yes, yesterday.
We are operating an airport. It's like any city in the world. Any airport, once a while, in a year, in 2 years, something like this or worse than this can happen because we are running machinery and equipment, a lot of technology. If one fails, somehow, somewhere, it happens sometimes. It happened to me recently in South Africa and in JFK. But I know it's uncharacteristic. So, and this is very uncharacteristic of our operation at that terminal. So I've taken note, and I'll find out, and we'll get back to you, sir. I'm sure it must be by failure somewhere, and failures do happen sometimes in any system.
It's not machinery now. It's not machinery.
That's what, okay, maybe handling, we'll just trace it, either the handlers or the. Sorry, sir. They did.
Something that impressed me. That was
But my name is Engineer Chris Okoye. I'm chairman of the committee that was set up by the House Committe. So obviously interface with FAN, Ministry of Aviation, the PW, and all the other consultants responsible for the rehabilitation of the Moscow and Enugu Airport. Supports of the 5 iconic states and so on.
You're rushing, relax, relax, relax. You. And Pali, we talked about it with some people. It's important, like I said earlier, before I started introducing, I said I personally had gone there twice, but my colleagues need to go there. Because my own, if we are going there, we are going as House Committee on Aviation to oversight what is going on at the airport, to inspect what is going on. And I said, luckily, we also have people here. By the time we finish, then we can now set a date where we'll go and oversight the airport. But also, since they've already been mobilized, the contractors have been mobilized, the farm management visits there all the time. They have the consultants here, and they also have let me also say when this we may recall that the matter started with the governors of Southeast meeting with the minister and also the president on the issue, and the president graciously approved the money. Also, if you also recall, the motion was also brought in on the floor of the House, which all of us supported the motion. So we're all part of it. And they have mandated us to go and oversight what's going on and to follow up on that issue. That's also part of why we're here. Since we all of us are here now, we want to know the situation on ground regarding the reconstruction, the progress. We actually want to know the progress. Just give us the progress report on the airport. That's why we're here, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. So going through it will take a lot of time, but we believe we'll run through it. Most of the value that will be derived from this meeting will be through the interactions and the observations you make from the presentation anyway. And you can do a lot more after the meeting by referring to it.
Enugu Airport that became necessary in the interest of the safety and security of our operations, of our passengers, and all other stakeholders. It's an airport we're making revenue, or we felt we should close it despite the revenue in the interest of safety and security, because it was so bad. Even pilots have made it a part of their pre-landing briefing that passengers should brace for the landing, because after landing it becomes so rough and violent that if you are not prepared for it, you might think it's an emergency on the aircraft. So if you used to land in Enugu, you see Air Peace pilots in particular, they always make that announcement. So it became necessary, look, safety and security, let's close it. And from the beginning, I wish to reassure you that this work ongoing is being conducted with the same principles and standards of safety and security in mind. We have this presentation. I will just go through maybe the first page, and the lead consultant is here, Engineer Mami Sari Baba. He might take us through. And like I said, the interaction will add much more value than what we are seeing now. The airport is a vitally economic aeronautical infrastructure which must be run to meet high standards as set by ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization. The required level of safety can only be guaranteed or achieved by proper maintenance of all the facilities in the airport. Maintenance includes all measures that need to be taken to keep in place or restore all the operational functions of the facility. Components of the maintenance include this inspection, which is either scheduled or spontaneous, servicing or overhaul, repair, minor or major. And in Enugu, we have major repair, major reconstruction works. The major repair is this type we are doing in Enugu, reconstruction, that becomes necessary when the efficiency or safety of operations can no longer be assured. The current collapse of the Akanu Ibiam Airport runway is regarded as a major work, which is not only limited to the pavement surface, but also requires stabilization of the base courses This type of maintenance is also known as breakdown maintenance. Now, apart from this major breakdown maintenance we are doing, it's also important for us to re-emphasize that we're also undertaking ancillary works in Enugu, works on the pavement, works on the apron, on the drainage system, on the perimeter road, on the fencing. The GAT lounge in Enugu is also being attended to. Then there is the clinic. The airport has no clinic. We also attend to that during this work. So in a nutshell, we are doing many more projects. People only talk about the runway, but we are doing much more to make sure that at the end of the day, when the work is concluded, Enugu becomes as good as a brand new airport. So these are the other works we are doing, and they are also going concurrently. The runway is the primary one, but we are doing others to ensure that there's much more service and value for not only the stakeholders, but also for our personnel, the staff that undertake our responsibilities on the airfield and in the terminal. I think with this, I will, with your permission, sir, I will let the lead consultant, if there are any technical observations, if you be granted your leave to attend to those questions, or maybe go through the technical aspects of this submission, because I'm sure he will do much more justice. Thank you very much, sir.
And the date they have given, the contractor keep to it, so that Nigerians who will use that airport can know that on so day they can buy tickets to that day.
Before Easter.
Easter. And that is the present commitment. And as of yesterday, even yesterday, the chairman, I was discussing with him earlier today in his office, that we were meeting on Enugu and other issues up to about midnight. So all hands are on deck to ensure that we deliver this project even ahead of that date. There is no compromise. And remember, if we don't have the commitment, we'll never even have started closing down a profit-making, revenue-generating airport. So we are very also eager to have our airport back so that our staff will be back in business and we can be doing our business of operating and developing or maintaining our airports. Now, having said that, I wish to say that even though we said it's going to be there, this is a closed meeting, I hope. We are committed to that date, but for me, I have a higher commitment than that. My higher commitment is to ensure that I do a very good job. If along the way, a first major, something unforeseen necessitates for me to extend, I will extend. Please, sir. No, I've said I am committed to that, but I do not wish it to be taken as a dogmatic commitment, because I would rather extend to ensure a good job than to open and then reclose again. So mine is, we close and the first instance, safety and security. Now, if anything, I say force majeure, something beyond our, something that can be clearly seen. Otherwise, before Easter is sacrosanct. But I say, let's keep this at the back of our mind. The safety and security, which is a function of the quality, is our primary concern, more than the date. Thank you very much, sir.
Force majeure. So there shouldn't be, this one will not bring any force majeure.
No, you have to be very careful, because remember in Southeast is devoid of.
Important on the project.
Yeah, I'm an electrical.
Eh?
Yes, I'm an electrical.
Electrical.
Yes.
It's not your business now. It's electrical.
Let's have it at the back of our mind.
No, it's electrical. Just, I don't think, have you seen the design?
Of course, yes.
And you are talking about the granite?
Of course. You should just we can live
No,
outside this forum.
No, have you seen the design?
Of course, we participated in.
And you are talking about
electrical design.
And you are talking about the granite?
Of course, yes.
When they were not wrong, and other things were assumed to be okay when they were not okay. By this I mean, the runway in Enugu was built to accommodate 737 weight of aircraft as critical aircraft initially. However, with the need to open Enugu for international flying, which was a decision of the government of this country, there was absolute need to extend the length of Enugu Airport, which was only 2.4 kilometers runway, to at least 3 kilometers runway, so that we can accept aircraft come all the way from abroad with the loading of fuel that is sufficient to bring them right to Nigeria and to a particular airport in Nigeria. Also carrying the loads, especially as we had wanted Enugu to be a cargo-oriented airport, so that business of importation and exportation can happen efficiently in the southeast. Now, extending the runway in order to take the type of aircraft that can do that kind of journey and bring that kind of tonnage and land safely requires not just extending the runway, but also strengthening the pavement itself to take the weight. This was not the case. The extension of the runway was done sufficiently, and we achieved 3 kilometers by extending it by 600 meters. The 600-meter portion that was extended was strengthened fairly well. But that portion that was the old runway was only overlaid, the 2.4, only overlaid with a thin film of crack relief rail and a wearing course. So when the bigger aircraft started to come, they developed ridges. That's why the captains were warning passengers that as we are landing in Enugu, you will experience bumps. And that's not acceptable in aviation. It is necessary to ensure that safety first. Safety is the key to aviation. If aviation is not safe, nobody will fly. So the economics of aviation, in fact, hinge around that word, safety. Now, we had to do detailed investigation to find out what could be a remedy of the situation. Now, the corrugation was principally as a result of the overload that was coming onto the surface that could not contain it. But we wanted to also make sure that we are not dealing with seepage of water from under. So investigations were carried out by very sound laboratories of the material that was excavated from the top of the runway, as well as experts in underground water who now confirmed to us that, because we don't have enough time to be sifting through pages, at 1.5% slope, as soon as the rain comes, it goes. Then, at the edges of the runway, we increase the slope even further, because that point is not where the aircraft goes, really. It's what is called the shoulder. At the shoulder, we made it 2.3. So you are coming, and then you are rapidly leaving. That way, you will drain that surface efficiently. For you to do that, you must first of all make sure you are building on top of something strong. So we went back to what were the lab results. We had 2 lab results that were very reliable. One was from the University of Lagos, and the other was by CGC. And we found that the surface of the runway was weak, up to about 120 millimeters. That is 60 millimeters of wearing force and 60 millimeters of the crack relief. But below that, you have a very strong stone base that has not failed. And below the stone base, you also have compacted lateritic material that has very good CBR. Therefore, for you to achieve the solution, you should come up, remove whatever was, yes, scrap those 120. So we went to 130. Remove 130 millimeters altogether throughout the runway. Yes. No longer doing it just in the middle. It wouldn't help. We did it, we are going to do it right through the whole runway, and then we start building on top of the storm beams. And what we intend to do is now to put 190 millimeters of asphalt in layers that can be compacted efficiently to achieve solid landing pad for the aircraft. Nowadays, we do not measure simple LCN of an airport. What we do now is we do comparative analysis between the aircraft requirement itself and the pavement classification that you are providing. And you take the range of aircraft that are expected to come to your airport. We chose the Boeing 747-400, and that's a very heavy aircraft. And we now designed that the pavement strength we will get at the end with this 190 corrective bituminous asphalt will be large enough to take the landing weight fully loaded 747-400 series aircraft. And that is statistically the most economical aircraft for cargo transportation in the world. So Enugu is being prepared for that. All other aircraft are child's play once you can achieve what can take that aircraft. So we did all those studies and then came up with that quantum of concrete. Besides that, we also decided that on the experience of other airfields in the world, that once you have a 3-kilometer runway, the chances are the time that you want to turn around, you are almost at the end of your runway after landing. So for us to achieve, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, for us to achieve smooth turning at the ends of the two runways, we now removed the idea of using bitumen there. We will now have rigid pavement there. We will cast concrete slabs of 5 by 5 meter slopes. That grid is what we use also on the aprons, and it is strong enough to avoid tearing. If you are to lock a 747 tire on one side and turn it with the other, that one that is turning will tear your tarmac. So you must prepare that aircraft requires more than just bituminous preparations at the ends. So that is going to happen to the two ends of this runway, 60 meters on either side will be finished in concrete grade 40 with complete reinforcement. With that, you now have to also take care of, after the runoff has left your runway, the ditch that is supposed to take the water must be clearly maintained in such a manner that the water goes to the river quickly. So the runway remains dry. No aquaplaning, no chances of any incident from the runway itself. Now, with respect to the timing of this project, we have worked together with Mrs. TW to squash the time that they were asking for. They were initially asking for till June. But we appealed to them that, look, Enugu has been closed for a fairly long time. And air services in Nigeria are really the ultimate of safety. We know what is happening on our roads. We know the kidnappings that are going on, and who are the targets of kidnappers. You know, it is us, really. Your good self, sir, business community, and people who they think have money. Therefore, it's better for...
No, you have been a consultant for more than a decade.
So, Mr. Chairman, we have worked together with the contractors. They have a few issues that they have mentioned, which we want to sit with them and work assiduously to solve. For example, some of the quarries that they have gone to are open, they are producing, but the stones they have do not meet our specifications. The stones crumble much faster than we would wish. Under extensive examination, you test for bending, you test for impulse, you test for shear, you test for crack, you test for so many things. And that portion that you take to the lab usually fails if it is made of stones that are not of high quality. So they are working to identify as many quarries as possible within the economic range of transportation so that they will be able to get enough stones because...
Well, I think, sorry, I think I believe we have gone beyond that. The PW, can you talk about the project?
To the specifications for the job. So we have a full laboratory down there. We've got a full quality control team down there.
Can I tell you about PW is an international company too, and why
Loading any cargo, you will understand why there is a need for us to comply with material specifications. And of course, not going to a web lab to say you are doing your analysis, because if it fails, it becomes a different matter. So you say, contractor says following the consultant. It's not the consultant you follow. You follow the terms of contract. What are the agreements in the contract? Because consultants will wash off his hands. No. That's why I asked. Is he following the consultant or
to follow the design that is...
Design is part of the bill. You cannot have a bill of quantity without...
Please, we are not supposed to... Wait, please.
If he cannot see, you cannot be... Every bill is derived from the drawing, because drawing comes before bill. Except you are working from answer to question.
Well,
No, sir, please, we need to clarify this. It's important to understand it. Okay? I think I've been in aviation for, even as a private person. So when we're talking about construction, nobody will talk about bill without talking about drawing. Because how do you have your bill? How do you have your cost? What are you costing if you don't have a drawing? So the issue of talking about drawing, it has been taken care of by the bill. So you telling me that you are following the drawing is because it is you can't talk about cost without the drawing. Drawing is the first. No, because you see, why I'm asking the question, if a consultant asks you to cut costs, what happens? No, it does happen, sir. It does happen. There could be problem with a contract. There could be oversight by the consultant in order to make that the project is within range and to conform with the Public Procurement Act, which does not allow more than 15% variation, because that they can do. Instead of hiding that you can't go under 15%, you have recourse to the House. There's oversight. In every human endeavor, there must be error. Even there are such things, you don't need to refer to the consultant, you refer back to the House. This project is supposed to be SY amount. Unfortunately, due to oversight, which is allowable. Of course, in basic mathematics, if you are asked to say how many degrees is it, you say 280, 1/2 278, 1/2 284. It's allowable. So no. Okay, we're talking about lives. That is why I don't want you to work with the provisions comes to us. You have, the chairman said something. He said they are interfacing with them. When such situations arise, because construction doesn't go one way. Construction doesn't go one way. Not every construction goes straightforward. At times, you may move like this for 3 months, you can't resolve the matter. And when it involves money, get back to the committee because nobody is going to take some standard job from you. That's the point I want to drive.
Yes. Okay. I think we've nailed it. We're talking about quality.
Yes. Just going for the oversight. So that when I'm asking questions, you know that I'm pursuing well the question was asked here. So that's why it's the contractor that will need to answer the question here.
Your abstract, okay, that contract contains several documents. That contract contains the bill of quantities, which only specifies the quantities and the rates and the amounts. Separate to that are the specifications, which I think are using generally international specifications for such things as aggregates, asphalt. So that's what we have to follow, the specifications. You can't say, are you following that thing or are you following that thing? We have to follow them all, because to get the quality, we have to follow the specifications.
Thank you. I want that to be
To get the construction right, we have to follow the design, the drawings, and to get the quantities right, they follow from the work that's actually done on site. So we follow them all.
Okay. All right.
When this job was awarded, there were, as the contractor said, there was a drawing, there were specifications, and the bills of quantities were produced. But if it became necessary, of course, to modify what was obviously what gave rise to the bill of quantities and so on, and the drawings and the specifications, that the consultants are qualified to look at them and make some modifications, which will also reflect in some change of the bills of quantities later on.
Thank you.
They can hide from us. So I think we should start asking questions. From the first page, you can see they have corrected some numbers that they don't want us to see. So, if as a committee they can hide things to us, I will not be comfortable with them in terms of specification and standard. They use correcting fruit to block certain things from us. And what is the solution? Mr. Chairman, when we went to, excuse me.
Ask them who got this document. Ask them who got the document. This is
I think, Mr. Chairman,
please.
Budgeted amount, 10 billion, that is common knowledge. Mr. President approved, budgeted 10 billion, but the contract amount is 8.5. So they have no business writing what is not on the contract. The balance of the money is in the ministry. So they wrote 10 billion, and I said, so what is this? They said, no, the contract is 8.5. You can see it. But the budgeted one from Mr. President all over the news is 10 billion, and the balance is at the ministry. That's part of the budget. So when they told me that, I said, okay, let's continue. And that is the explanation I'm giving to you now. And if you go through the deletion, you can still see the figure is 10 billion they wrote. That's what they, maybe the procedure, they should have just left it. And if somebody asks and we say, this, the mistake they made is trying, but if you go through it, even the paper, copy I had, I could see the 10. It was not properly cleaned. That was they wrote the budgeted amount, not the contract amount. Yeah, show them the one that doesn't have
the quantities that will be applicable. And I'm happy to say that if any, that was after I completed my own work here in Nigeria as Managing Director of Airport Authority twice. So there is no way that I will play around with the lives of my countrymen when I didn't ever play around with the lives of anyone else. Thank you, sir.
I think we have dealt on the issue of the runway reconstruction and the other services. Then, thirdly, we also want to look at a colleague of mine complained about the Lagos airport.
Sorry, Honourable Chairman, could I just make one comment, please?
Okay.
Before we move on from a new group.
Go ahead.
Yeah. As the consultant has said, we have committed to was in the original design, okay? So we've committed to put all of our resources in to do that. There's also, as the consultant said, there is additional concrete pavements at each end of the runway. So again, we've committed, we're going to put all our resources into making sure everything gets completed by Easter. But our main concern with being able to achieve that date, we can achieve it with the resources we have, but our main concern is the availability of good quality, well, high quality aggregates, granite aggregates that will pass all the required specifications, which are very stringent for runways. They're more stringent than just for doing roads. So we have identified some quarries. Well, we've visited quite a lot of quarries. We've identified one or two, or three, I think, at the moment, which are producing stones that meet the specification. A lot, as we said, just simply don't meet the specification, so we can't use them. But we are worried about getting that quantity in that compressed time. And one of the issues we have is what we have had is with communities blocking our trucks and blocking the quarries. So that is a big issue, and it's beyond our.
Let me come into that.
Yeah.
That's why you need it. To tackle it. Yeah.
It's a very challenging thing.
No. It's not a problem. Just discuss with him. It's something we can sort out. It's not a problem. Please. Because if you just have to, that's why I want to know what the difficulties you are having, the challenges you are having, so that we can also come to your aid. Okay? I think we are through with the issue of Enugu Airport.
Yeah.
Then the Lagos Airport. A colleague of mine complained to me about the conveyor, which I spoke to the MD, and he also called me again and told me that this issue has not been resolved, and that considering the high traffic in Lagos Airport and the huge investment in Lagos Airport, that they need a fund to facilitate whatever they are doing, so that they can get the Lagos Airport fully functional. So, and also, I want to know, what are we doing about the, we have, very soon we are going to finish the new terminal. So what are your plans regarding the international?
And they took measurements and dimensions of what they will do, not only the conveyor belt, but also the weighing scales. And they went to the ever bridges, and they took measurements and specifications, and the escalators. So we went beyond that, and they went back, and they sent out the first two quotations. We are waiting for the one for conveyor belts. We already have some. Also, another company came, they even took measurements for the dimension of an improved, modern, state-of-the-art centralized screening area machine that will have automatic plastic coming for you. You put your bags and your phone, you send it in. If your bag has any contraband, it will be automatically displaced to the side, just like you see abroad. With that, we believe there's no reason for any agency to insist on opening your bags. So they came, 3 teams with different intentions, and we're already getting invoices now. Naturally, when you are trying to solve some problems operating an airport, you can get a quick solution for some issues in a day or a week. And some, because of the nature of airport operation, you will see the problem, you know the answer, you have the means, but it will take you still weeks or months to get it properly implemented because of shipping sometimes cost, sometimes government due process. So we already have some invoices. We are trying to take it holistically. Most of the ones that suppliers in Nigeria, they supply substandard plastic. That's why we took the extra mile and said, let's just go and get original. We have contractors, but they provide it. Within a few months, it will collapse. So we went out and now got people that come and do the original installation. So we have invoices and we're working on it. We are sorry for the inconvenience, but it's a necessary part of airport operation. Some solutions come quick. Some inherently you cannot. No matter what you have, if you have the money, you cannot solve it in a week or a month. So this is one of the issues. And we've been sending the messages to people that they can see. On the second issue of the international, once we get the new terminal open, we have scheduled that old international for major refurbishment. In fact, when I submitted the request for Enugu to be closed, and it was closed, and once we got the approval, I wrote another submission to the Honorable Minister for the same condition, emergency repair work in Lagos International Airport. We submitted this about 3 or 4 months ago, and the minister has it. We are looking for him to escalate and see what we can do. And we even included preliminary works done by JB a few years ago to show that we really want to expedite, because they spend a lot of time and resources to develop a proposal. So I included inside that, look, we have no objection. Some people already spend time and resources to develop something good. So it's included in the request for emergency intervention for Lagos. We cannot do it now, but we want to be sure that by the time we open this appeal for emergency assistance to refurbish Lagos will have been ready. We're expecting the response from the government any moment. And we use this opportunity to seek much more of your usual understanding of operation in seeing that this one gets pushed forward to receive the necessary approvals from the ministry and maybe any other actual government.
Well, I think Lagos raise more money in Lagos than any other airport in Nigeria. So it's something that everybody is concerned that should be taken serious. So I don't know if we have any other thing to say, but we have discussed issues about the weather conditions, diversion of plane. Also, you experienced that in Asaba Airport too. There have been a shifting flights in Asaba Airport, Asaba Bini Wari. So, but the NAMA MD has he explained all these things to us. Except if you want him to throw more light to you on that.
No,
he has,
at my state, Professor Moye said he came to see you sometime late December.
Also want to encourage the contractor, PW, because there was a time we agreed that you start a night operation at the airport. We are still on the.
Yeah, there is still plans, yes.
Okay, good. So it's also part of it. You also need to speed up it's also going to help. The night operation will help. Let me also advise that you also need constant interface with the representative of Southeast, so that if there are issues that needs urgent follow-up, that he will come to your aid immediately. I also want to thank the consultants for coming out strongly on their proposal. That we believe our position still stands that the airport that will have our an aircraft will land there before Easter. That's our position today. So you have to write it. This is our position today. Exactly. We all agree that the aircraft commercial plane will land there before the Easter. Inshallah. By the grace of God, inshallah. No, before Easter. No force majeure. Because it's not Enugu that will experience force majeure. Nobody experienced it in Abuja. So Enugu one will not experience force majeure. So then the other issues regarding the Lagos airport, we've agreed that will help in pushing the construction of the new the construction of the new internet, the old international. Whatever that needs us to, whatever you need from us, we are ready to support. Okay. Then the issue of we've discussed. We advise that you should make you should address the press regarding the diversion of planes. That is also very important. So I think with all these things we have done a lot today. So yeah, we'll decide. But in less than 3 weeks, we also the committee will want to inspect the Enugu airport and see what's going. Believing in the next 3 weeks, they must have done a lot. Okay, because the contractor will trigger his night operation. So please can thank you, the media. Wants to thank the media and everybody for coming out